Does seeing yourself happen gradually?
Question. I have had many communications with you. Right now, I am not thinking a lot about seeing who I truly am. I am just living life. Sometimes I think I should be thinking and doing something in that direction, but that feels like it is only thoughts from the mind, so I let it go. Then sometimes I get these waves, for lack of a better word, in which I can see the connection with all things and see who I am. It is very brief but peaceful. Does seeing your true self happen gradually in glimpses or in one overwhelming act of awareness? Thanks for your continued help.
Does your very existence come in waves? Does that awareness, which is the necessary basis for all appearances, happen gradually or suddenly? As the scriptures and traditions tell us, that natural state or absolute reality is described or pointed to as being awareness peace. That is not coming and going. It is neither gradual nor sudden. We are only noticing that fact, having been a bit mesmerized by the notion that we were something other than this. In doing that, we were more interested in chasing after the concepts in the mind, rather than seeing what has been here all along. In hearing about this and looking at the facts for ourselves, we are less and less inclined to put much attention into the contrary concepts that captivated our attention in the past. Nothing is attained at all. But there is a natural recognition which is really abiding in, and as that non-conceptual awareness that is always present, no study, thinking, or pondering is needed for that to be. It does not depend on what you do or do not do, because all appearances and possibilities are displaying in and on this radiant space of being and knowing. That is your natural state. How to know and embody this?
Question. I have recently been introduced to you. It is very, very obvious that what we label awareness, stillness, void, silence, etc., is always here.
Yes, it is good that you see that. Another key point, you are this. There is no separate entity or person in the equation. That assumption is the root of all the questions and problems.
Of course, the mind will ferociously, grossly, or subtly do its best to convince us we are anything but presence.
John. Yes, but it cannot be denied.
How does a human being unequivocally know and embody, of course without the mind, that in fact, if I am anything at all, I am presence, I am unlimited silence, I am pure awareness? How do we do this in order that we may truly express our true nature in the world of time and space in a practical way?
The manner in which you are framing the issue contains the root of the problem. See that the entity you are referring to is entirely fictional. Like everything else, the human being is also an appearance in the ever-present reality. In your question, there is a subtle identification with the human appearance. Therefore, your stand shifts from being that reality to the perspective of being the assumed limited person. Investigate and see if this is true. If the shift in identity is delusive or unsubstantiated, the question falls. The whole world of time and space is the expression of natural reality. So, full stop right there. There is no need to know or embody anything. It is the pure knowing itself, which is already an expression. There is nothing else. How to reconcile contradictory pointers?
Question. I was hoping that you might be able to clarify an issue that I have been struggling with for a couple of years now. Most of the teachers that I follow suggest staying with "Who am I?" But in the next breath, they will say "full stop" and call off the search. I do not know how to reconcile these two seemingly opposite techniques, or which one I should focus on. The full stop technique seems most confusing. When I stop, there is not even the idea of noticing who or what is here. This stop state is also the place I go into every night. Sleep, but there is obviously no recognition of my true nature. I assume that if there were, then I would be realized upon awakening from slumber.
The point is to have a look at what you are and be clear on what this self-evident and doubtless presence is. No amount of calling off the search or full stopping is going to achieve that. The point of those comments is to stop looking elsewhere for what is being pointed to, which is the fact of your own self. Non-duality traditions state unequivocally that there is a reality, and that this reality and your being are one and the same thing. That shows you where to look. Who and what is this self-evident nature that cannot be denied? Most people are overlooking this point and are identifying what they are with some objective appearance or concept in the mind. Thus, they are completely oblivious of what they truly are. This is the cause of all seeking, suffering, and doubt. The cause can be resolved through a clear and direct recognition of what is being pointed to, namely your real nature. So the points work together, really. First, you must have a basic sense of what this is about. Then you stop looking in the wrong direction and have a look at who and what you are. Then you settle down with that clear and direct seeing of your real being as it is. This resolves the root of the problem and restores you to your natural state. This natural state was only overlooked through a misunderstanding or false identification with a conceptual sense of self. Any of these points may be stressed, depending on the stand of the questioner at a given time. Where do you stand with all of this? That is the only issue, really. Do you know your being as it is? Or is it still getting mixed up with a concept? That is what it gets down to.